Okay, so I've been asked to show a little bit about how to make a carbonara, traditional sense, or at least my carbonara, which I think is pretty traditional, or pretty much the basic, the purist's version. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take some video, try and do them, and then try and edit them all together. So it's my first attempt, so it might be a little choppy, but I'll give it a whirl. Okay, so right now, over here, this is water that's on the boil, salted, and ready to go for the pasta. I'm actually going to turn it down because this is going to take a few minutes before we're ready to put pasta in. So that's down. Over here on the chopping board, there is 4 pieces of pancetta cut pretty finely, an onion cut up also, I don't know, not too finely, but yeah, and 1 clove of garlic. I'm eating myself, so this is sort of carbonara for 1. A little bit more, a little bit less for 2 or for 3. Also over here, some Italian parsley chopped finely. This is a finishing element. Then you can see I've got some whipping cream and 3 eggs, and in the next video I will show you what I'm doing with those. Okay. So 3 eggs, whipping cream, and a few other things. So 1, 2, 3 eggs, okay, in there. Easy peasy. Get rid of the shells. Okay. Then, I don't know, some whipping cream. Still good? Yep. That much. Just enough to get in between the eggs. Oregano. Palm of my hand, that much. And crush it up a little bit, get it powdery, that kind of thing. And then some basil, same kind of thing. Dried basil in my hand, crush it up like that. Pinch of salt, a little bit of ground pepper, all in the bowl. And then I want a whisk. Use the small one, the small bowl, and whisk together. And you should have, depending on what dairy you use, I'm being a bit naughty and using 35% whipping cream, but really even at 10%, I've even done it with milk, but this is what I had, and I want to be a little bit, I don't know, a little bit naughty with the whipping cream, so it'll make it nice. So next step. I've moved my pot of boiling water to the other element, and I have over here a frying pan ready to go. It's on the hot element, so olive oil, like that much. I'm going to try and move the camera down a little bit so you can see. Okay, so some olive oil. It's getting a little bit heavy. Let it cool a little bit because I don't want it to go in too hot. So there we go. And then pancetta in, onion and garlic in, and off we go. So we're going to saute that. It's going to make the house smell really good. Air conditioning is on, so the windows are closed, which is going to make it really good in here. But, cool. So, the downside to pancetta, of course, is that because it's so cured, it gets a bit sticky on the bottom. So I try and go at about a medium heat, and also I don't want everything to cook too hard. I want the onion soft and cooked through rather than blackened or that kind of thing. So as you can see, kind of stirring away, getting that mixture going, and that's going to cook for a few minutes. Okay. Egg mixture over here. The stuff on the stove. Easy peasy. I'll be back to you in a little bit. While that's cooking, I'm going to get some Parmesan ready. Grate up a bunch of that and have that ready to go. So that, because you're going to put a little bit in the pasta in the pot before you serve, and then you got to have lots to go on top, of course. So a little bit of that. You can see that what's in the frying pan is browning nicely, but not cooking too hard. I'm going to turn it down and let it sit there. By the way, like I said, I'm eating alone, so I had a half an onion and 4 pieces of pancetta in there, and that will be ample for me. And 1 clove of garlic. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to get my colander ready for the pasta. This is not the newest colander in the house, but it was my mother's, and I remember as a kid her using that to drain pasta, and I rescued it from her place, and it's old and shitty and beat up, but when I'm alone I use this one. Okay, so what's in the fry pan is ready. I'm just going to take it off the heat, put it to the side, bring it back to the heat in a little bit, and I'm going to drop my pasta in. Ay, that's hot. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. And I'm using spaghetti, and typically carbonara goes on spaghetti. So there you go, in the pot. Trick to cooking pasta, lots of water, way more water than you think, salt, and I also am a believer that pasta should be cooked. I know it shouldn't be overcooked, but I do lament the fact that oftentimes al dente means not cooked enough. For me, it should be cooked. So while the pasta is cooking, I'll say this. The one thing about carbonara is it has to be served hot. It needs to be hot. It needs to be served right away. Take it off the stove, put it in the dish, you serve it, and you eat it. Don't fuck around, waiting around, because otherwise, A, the egg cooks too much, and it gets congealed and it gets sticky, and it's no good. But it's not that it's no good, but it's much better when it is from the stove to the table and people eat right away. The way to avoid that is to let the egg cook even less, so that it cooks as it's going to the table. But I'll be eating right away, so I'll get it here. Yes, and of course, if you're not careful, you end up with sort of a scrambled egg on pasta, which isn't the worst, but it's not as unctuous as it would be if it's done straight away. Another little thing while it's waiting to cook. All of the Parmesan runs, keep them. They're handy when you're making a tomato sauce, or really any kind of pasta sauce that has to cook for a while. Throw a piece of rind in there and let it simmer in the sauce. It does sort of add something, a bit of saltiness and unctuousness. Another thing while the pasta is cooking. You can do this with bacon, with our regular North American streaky bacon. But I will say that it often doesn't go that great, just because of the way that they smoke and cure the bacon and the flavor that they add to the smoking process. And so it kind of gives it this, I don't know, mapley whatever. And so pancetta really is the way to go if possible. Pasta is getting close, but it's not ready yet. But it's getting close. Okay, now here's where it's all going to come together. My element over here. I brought it back on a little bit. The frying pan with the good stuff in there. I'm going to get that back on the heat a little bit. Okay, and turn it a little bit. The pasta is very close. What I'm going to do over here is I'm going to add another splash of olive oil. I want that to get nice and hot too, but I'm not trying to fry anymore. It's perfect as it is. It's crispy, it's brown, but I want it hot. And then, so that's going to come up nicely now, and we'll go. Okay, so pasta is ready, and almost ready, and in about a second I'll come back and we'll put it all together and then serve. Okay, I'm going to mess around with the burners here. You're going to see a lot of activity. The pasta is coming off. Draining over at the sink. I'm going to throw the pot where it was on the heat. Okay, and I take another splash of olive oil on the bottom of there. A lot of olive oil, I guess. Okay. Pasta comes over, back into the pot. Put the colander aside, little swirl through the olive oil. Then get the bacon or the pancetta and all that good stuff onto the pasta in the pot. Get all the fat, stir it around, get that all nicely coated. So the pasta's a bit oily, it's nice and hot in there. Okay, one last whisk. Okay, and pour that mixture, that egg over top. Get it all out. Okay, now spinning it around. Remember that your burner's still hot, so you got to be a little bit careful. You want it to come out wet, but not like sloppy, because that's like pasta porridge. I'm going to turn the burner off. The residual heat will do it. That's got to stay there just like that. I'm going to get a little bit of a different one to mix it around, because I want what sticks off the bottom type thing. There we go. Okay, so you got to be careful that the egg on the bottom of the pan will cook, like I said before, a little bit hard. Okay, and you don't want that too much. A little bit of that's fine, but not too much. Okay, it's I'm going to add some parm here. Mix that in. Okay, like that. Looks good. It's wet, but not drippy. I don't know how to describe it. You'll know. You'll know. A little bit more time. Just want one more half minute on the element. Okay. That's good. That's good. Perfect. So really, the whole idea is that the egg cooks on and in the pasta that is hot, and so then straight into the bowl. Okay, you can see still a bit of wet, and not too bad, because remember that by the time I get it to the table, it will still be cooking. Everything in there is bloody hot, and that's the way it should be, and that's the way you can serve it. Okay, put that aside. Downside is pasta carbonara has a lot of dishes that go with it. More Parmesan on top, some of that nice chopped Italian parsley on top. It looks good and it tastes good. I'm going to put a little bit more ground pepper on. I won't need any salt, like that. And that's the dish right there. So I'll try that again. There's the dish. I videoed this service, but then the phone rang, so I don't know, just in case it didn't go through. There's the dish. I've got my extra Parmesan cheese. Got a tea towel to wipe my face, or tuck into my shirt maybe, I don't know. It's hot, it's gonna be good. My mouth is watering, so I hope that worked for how to do it, little video. And buon appetito, grazie tanto. Thanks for joining me, and yeah, see you next time. Bye. Bye. Hi. I just want to say, when I decided to do this with video, I thought that the food wasn't going to turn out very well, thinking that I was going to be doing too many things, and the camera and all that kind of stuff, but it actually turned out very well. And I also wanted to tell you that there's, if you want to brighten it up or freshen it up, Get some cherry tomatoes, big tomatoes, doesn't matter, and some just simple olive oil and vinaigrette. Chop your tomatoes, turn them in the vinaigrette very quickly, and then once you've served this as is, just like I served it, put a handful or a scoopful of that on top. It'll brighten up the pasta because it's pretty thick. You've had carbonara before, so you know it's pretty thick and heavy. And a little bit of chopped tomato salad will brighten the whole thing up. So, a little bit more. Bye.